As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? Welcome back to another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media. Then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed into the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, he's a man who ate at Bennigan's so much in the early 2000s that he became officially Irish.
Yeah, hell, I did actually used to go to Bennigan's all the time in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, as former residents of New Tampa, we really had no other choice.
That's true.
It was either
That's
that
true.
or all the other chain restaurants that were pretty much exactly like it. And it's weird, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of
You have
miss
nostalgia
them.
for Bennigan's?
I do. Well, a little bit. I mean, Bennigan's was like the worst. They always had the worst service. And did you ever go there on St. Patrick's Day?
No, I generally avoid Irish places on St. Patrick's
Oh man,
Day.
it was the worst. It was even worse than it normally was. I mean,
I'm sure.
I went there and checked it out like once while I was in college. I'm like, yo, yay, green beer, and it's chock full of like drunk assholes and douchebags playing the acoustic guitar. That like, what could possibly be better? So yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Yahel O. Velasquez. How Irish are you?
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you too. Well, I am zero Irish, but that's okay. I will appropriate Irish stereotypes for the day if that's what.
Ooh, I would like to hear some right now.
I actually am terrible at accents, and Irish is probably my worst one. So.
All right. We'll just have to imagine it. But before we get into, all right, my St. Patrick's Day tradition, which is watching Kids Incorporated. I'm starting it today. That's my new Irish tradition. I have to tell everybody that in order to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I just happened to launch the Escape to Earth Issue 3 Kickstarter today. So head on over to Kickstarter and check it out. There's a lot of great tiers, and all of the past issues are available as add-ons, both in physical and digital formats. And so yeah, that's the most important thing. Screw St. Patrick's Day. Escape to Earth 3 is on Kickstarter again. Whoa.
Yeah, dinosaurs are green.
Exactly.
Sometimes, right?
Exactly.
There you
St.
go.
Patrick chased the snakes out of Ireland, and Adam and Ika are chasing the dinosaurs off of planet Earth. So
there you go.
Yeah.
The cover looks really good.
Are you talking about the variant or homage cover?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, Sean Forney. Yeah, he did an awesome job, and I'm actually going to get to meet him at WonderCon at the end of the month. So hopefully get him to sign a few issues, and oh man, are they going to fetch a pretty penny. You wait. Or they're going to fetch a pot of gold, they are.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, that's what
Yes, I'm sure they will, yes.
All right, so in addition to all the other great stuff going on, a couple of guys are going to be discussing a kids show about singing on St. Patrick's Day, and those guys are us. And that show is
That's right.
Kids Incorporated. What's your history with Kids Incorporated? Did you watch it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I actually I don't remember like any particular episodes. I just remember the theme song.
Same here.
But I don't remember. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. I thought this was terrible. I don't remember it being this bad. I guess the one saving grace, folks, is this will probably be a short episode because it's mostly cover songs.
Yeah.
And a little bit of dialogue.
Well,
but what about you, man? What do you remember about Kids Incorporated?
I remember the song.
Or Kink, as we called it back in the playground.
Ew! Who were you hanging out with back then? Um,
This is the age I was watching Kids
I
Incorporated.
mean, I am. All right. So yes,
I'm not kidding. There was a guy that called it K Ink,
K Ink. I mean, in the wiki, it says that it's known as Kids Inc. But I guess yeah,
which makes way more sense.
the
But
street term out in Puerto Rico is K Inc. I guess.
this was here in the backwoods of the lawless state of Florida,
Right, of
actually.
course.
But
Hey, Yale, you watching K Inc. tonight?
yeah, and like, but when I say guy, I mean like, some other kid that was around my age or
Right.
whatever. So there was nothing. It was innocent. He wasn't like trying to make a play on kink. But I was thinking about that today. I was like, what a weird thing to call it K Ink, because it just sounds like
All
kink.
right. Well, I'm glad you brought up kink and weird stuff, because I'd like to speculate as to what exactly is going on at Kids Incorporated. Because all right, let me answer your question first. I too remember the theme song. I think less than the kids song. I remember like the visuals of the opening when the kids are jumping up and turning into the letters at the end. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, Hold on, we've got to acknowledge Creative KB's weekly No Fear shirt. What do we have here? You want to read it?
Let me see here. It's Sunday, but hell no, I'm not going to church. No
No
fear.
Fear.
No fear of hell here. That's
I
right.
really like that. I might have to use that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
And
remember
that speaks to our sensibilities.
absolutely. So yeah, the kids they jump up and turn into like the letters of the kids' logo. That's what I remember the most. And so this show lasted for like 8 seasons or something. So I wonder, and this was actually from season one. We are not watching the pilot. I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're watching it's like season one, episode 12, The Leprechaun. So there's your St. Patrick's Day tie in, everybody. So yeah, this is all the way back from like 1984. They don't even have an actual air date on Wikipedia or on IMDb for at least the first season that I could find. And yeah, like I watched this on reruns on the Disney Channel, like back in the late 80s, early 90s. What do you remember what channel you used to watch it on?
I don't know. I was trying to figure that out today too, because I was like, I think this was like a Disney Channel thing, but I didn't have the Disney Channel. So maybe it was during the free previews or something that they used to do.
Right.
Like,
It was,
for the Disney Channel, you were like a week or two of the year, your cable provider would throw you a bone. Like much like a drug dealer, say, hey, first week's free.
right.
Um,
Haley Mills is on there trying to get you to buy, and yeah, you can actually find like on YouTube like scenes from those old like Disney Channel days of like Haley Mills asking people to sign up for Disney Channel. It's quite the time travel sort of nostalgia, if you will. But yeah, apparently it was in syndication, so who knows? Who knows what you might have watched it on?
that must have been it then if it was syndicated.
Yeah. But um
There's the
but yeah, so okay, basically the plot, and this is gonna tie into like what's actually going on with Kids Incorporated. The plot of Kids Incorporated, they show up at this sort of music venue. It's called The Place, but it's actually the Palace, but the A
very, very creative.
but the A is like burned out, so they just call it The Place. And that's basically it for 8 seasons. These kids, they show up, they perform pop songs or lip sync to pop songs, and I guess sort of dance. Um, and then they kind of have little skits in between. I guess that's sort of a loose plot for every episode. I'm just like, I was asking myself, I'm like, where are these kids coming from and why are they here? Is this sort of some sort of weird grooming
Why am I
initiative?
watching this?
Well,
These are questions you
I
were.
mean, when you're 6 or 7 years old, you want to see kids your age like doing stuff. I guess. Like, I mean, I know
Sure.
why we're watching it as grown men because of this podcast, for better or worse. But I'm just like, I'm like, why are the kids always hanging out there? Are they all orphans? Do they not have parents? Like, is this some weird after school initiative? What do you think?
Well, at one point they do go to their own house to study or something, so I guess they have
No, no, not,
homes.
not in this episode. That was just a different part of the palace or the place where they were. Like I
Oh,
don't
okay. That
ever
wasn't
they never leave as far as I remember, they never leave the place. So
maybe they're trapped there. Maybe these kids. I got a theory,
ooh, I want to
Steven.
hear it.
I don't think these kids are even alive.
Yes, they're in
I think they're
limbo,
dead.
right? Or purgatory?
Yeah, and yeah, yeah, and this leprechaun that shows up is just another ghost, a new arrival.
Yes. Oh man, I already love
Think about the lyrics to the theme song. At one point, they said, "Looks like we made it. We're
Kids
kids
Incorporated.
incorporated." But they're actually not even corporeal anymore. They're actually
Right.
uncorporated, if you will.
They've
It's a play on.
they've left their bodies, right, and they're transitioning to the next world, whatever that may be.
Right, and they finally made it there. Yeah.
But who are they performing for?
I guess other dead kids. I
No,
don't
they're
know.
performing for God, the deities.
Oh well, no, they're in purgatory. They're performing for like the devil's demons. This is like their
There you
entertainment.
go. And if they don't do a good job, then I guess they either go to hell or they ascend to heaven or something.
If they don't do a good job, they have to go back to live on Earth as
Yeah,
punishment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, I like where this is going. All right, are you ready?
All right, let's jump into
Yeah, I was
this.
about to say,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
Hard out at 3:30, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
I'm sure we will. Um, okay, Kids Incorporated, also known as Kids Inc. or K Inc., according to Yahel,
Okay.
is an American children's television program that began production in the mid 1980s and continued airing well into the early 1990s. It was largely a youth-oriented program with musical performances as an integral part of every episode. The pilot episode was shot on September 1st, 1983. The series aired in syndication from September 1st, 1984 to December 26th, 1985, and on the Disney Channel from November 3rd, 1986 to January 9th, 1994, and reruns continued all the way until May 30th, 1996. 147.
Yep, and you can find full episodes on YouTube now.
Yes,
if
yes. So, yeah,
you so wish.
pause it here. I mean, unless you're listening to us live, and then watch the episode and then come back, so you know what we're talking about. Yeah, so 147 episodes in total, 9 seasons, and yeah, we are watching The Leprechaun, season 1, episode 12, and it premiered at some point in 1984. There's not a lot of information on IMDb, at least regarding what goes on behind the camera. There's a lot of information about the kids who were in front of the camera because a lot of them are really big stars now. But I'm sure Yahel is going to cover that in a second.
Yeah, there's a few.
And here is the synopsis for The Leprechaun. A leprechaun ends up in the place and wants the kid and Stacy to teach him how to be a rock and roll star. May make sense, right? and
Sure.
Kids Incorporated were created by their executive producers, Thomas Lynch and Gary Biller. This episode is directed by one Maurice Abram. He directed 6 episodes of Kids Incorporated. He also did the first Howie Mandel special, and hopefully it was the last. And then he also did another. I guess he likes working with kids because he had another sort of special called Dolly Parton Meets the Kids. I bet that's a fun one. And this is written by one Mark B. Ray, who I can only assume is Mark Bully Ray. I mean, but we'll never really know.
Yes.
He
Yes, of the Dudley Boys.
exactly. Yeah, he wrote 5 episodes of Kids Inc. And then also wrote a couple of movies: Scream, Bloody Murder, The Severed Arm, and the new Mickey Mouse Club. So I don't know about you, but when it comes to my kids' entertainment, the guy who I want writing it is the guy who wrote Bloody Murder and The Severed Arm. And
Oh, absolutely. Again, that's why these kids are not alive, Steven. This is a horror.
I know it
show.
is. Forced to lip sync pop songs until the end of time. That is horrible. But he had a writing partner here, even though his name is Ron Bastone on IMDb. He doesn't even have any writer's credits listed. The only credit he has is apparently he was an actor in the aforementioned Scream Bloody Murder. So Ron and Mark were good buddies. I guess Mark was the more seasoned writer and got Ron a writing gig on an episode of Kids Inc. I don't know about you, but the guy who I want writing my kids' entertainment is the actor from Scream Bloody Murder. So that's going to do it for me. Who are some of the, should I even call them actors? I guess they're mostly singers. Who are some of the kids in this show?
Well, I'm not going to go through everybody because, I mean, really, who
Just
cares?
give us the famous
Most
ones.
of them. Yeah, I was going to say, you said that like there's a lot of famous stars in it, but there really
I mean, more
isn't.
than you think.
Mario Lopez is in this as a dancer. He's not even like one of the regulars on the show. I don't know if he was like appeared regularly as a dancer on here. Or whatever.
There's a small D-I-C-K dancer. What is that? What does that mean? Anyway.
Anyways, we've got Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, Miss Fergalicious herself as a little child here. Stacey Ferguson. I'll mention this guy. Actually, was he Rasan Patterson? Was that the other guy that was with Fergie?
Yep. The kid.
Okay, so he's billed as the kid. So they didn't let him use his real name of Rasan.
Yeah, that's a little too ethnic for Kids
why,
Incorporated.
Yeah, even though it's a very diverse cast.
Yes, absolutely.
Then we have John Franklin, who's guest starring as the Leprechaun. John Franklin's like picture on his IMDb is hilarious. He's going like, like his I don't know, he's doing something real weird with his mouth here. But anyways, the last thing he did was a movie called Hell's Kitty, which I actually saw on Tubi.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of wild. Yeah, it's not worth covering. It's bad, but it's not like so bad that it's good or whatever. Anyway, there's this guy Moosey Dryer who I just think has a fun name. That's not his character's name. His real name is Moosey Dryer.
Wow, that's rough.
He plays Riley. I think he was like the older kid. No. He's a real young kid, it looks like, actually. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of like other people singing, but only a few people really have like a lot of lines here. The show this episode revolves mostly around the Leprechaun, Fergalicious, and Rasan, aka the kid.
But just from the series overall, I guess Jenifer Love Hewit was in there at one point. Are you familiar with that song from the 90s, Toy Soldiers, I guess? Do you know that song? Are you going to make me sing it? It goes like...
I mean, you don't have to.
All right, well, the girl who sang that started out on Kids Incorporated. And let's see. I think those are like the main ones. They had a few guest stars, like people from the Brady Bunch, like Florence Henderson. Who else? I think that's pretty much everyone that... Oh, and of course, who could forget Billy Blanks and David Hasselhoff apparently showed up at one point.
Wow.
Wow. I'm surprised you didn't find that.
In the no, I didn't. In the chat, Creative KB wrote, "Oh, I see why you're covering this. You hate the Irish." Although I will say this guy Moosey Dryer, he has gotten decent amount of work. He has 74 credits to his name. Obviously he's not a guy who's ever had like a major role per se. But yeah, I mean, he's gotten roles. And it also looks like he works doing sound
Mm-hmm.
and other crew. So he's worked on the Chronicles of Riddick, Oblivion, Shoot 'Em Up, The Burbs as other crew, not an actor. I'm assuming he just keeps getting hired because of his name.
It's like some.
I'm assuming it goes like they get a list of people to consider, and then they get to like the M's and go, Is this a real
Yeah.
name?
I think they.
Hire this guy. I gotta meet this guy. I gotta find out.
Yeah,
the
I
story.
think they just start chuckling. Like, that name cracks me up. Get in there. Yeah.
Yeah, Vince McMahon hired
Yeah.
him.
Oh, are we even allowed to talk about him anymore? I don't. I don't know.
Ah, I'd love to poop on his.
I was the one who started Kids Incorporated. It was me, all along. And you can draw your own conclusions about what he wanted to do with that. Anyway, so you ready to talk through this very layered episode of Kids Incorporated?
Sure.
Okay, so the opening
let's
theme
go.
plays, and we already discussed it. Would you say that you enjoy the theme at this point as an adult, or?
I don't remember it being that long. It was like 2 minutes long or something. It was really long. Um, I mean, it's catchy after like once it gets past the first verse. I mean, it does get in your head. I wouldn't say it's good or something I enjoyed though.
I like it.
What
I like
about
it.
you?
It's got that.
Yeah, you're gonna add this to your gym mix?
I doubt that. I mean, it's a good sort of like '80s pop beats that I like. Yeah, pretty good. Definitely better than the California Dreams theme. You got to give it that.
Yeah, I'll give it.
So we open with a performance of "I Want You Back," originally performed by the Jackson 5. Meanwhile, backstage, I guess a stagehand delivers a large suitcase, and it's like the sort of like typical movie 1950s style, like big sort of, what do you call?
It's like a Looney Tunes style package or something. It like says like fragile, this end up. It has like a bunch of like stickers on it.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. And that's why this doesn't take place in the real world. It takes place in like some sort of weird, what did we call it again? Purgatory or something. So he puts the suitcase down. It starts to move around on its own. It opens, and a leprechaun emerges. How would you describe this leprechaun to the listeners?
So he's wearing like striped tights, like black and white striped tights, and he just has like a generic green leprechaun, green coat with the lapels, a giant green bow tie. They painted his
And
skin
it's
green,
a kid,
very
not a little
poorly.
person. It's not Warwick Davis.
Right, it's a kid. This leprechaun is taller than the two kids he interacts with the most time. And at one point, one of the kids says, "You got a problem, little man?" to the leprechaun that's like almost a foot taller than him.
He was the only kid available at the time to be a leprechaun. He's probably the only one who could do somewhat Irish accent. What did you think of his accent?
Man, it's not
No.
good. I've heard worse, but not many.
Oh, agreed. So the kids finish their
Creative KV asked us to rate the accent from 1 to 10. I mean, like a 5.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say 4. So yeah, we're right there in the middle. I mean, it's a kid. I'd say he's doing his best. The kid.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, we should mention like these kids, they all sing. They are lip syncing on the show to like a pre-recorded track, obviously, but the kid actors are also the actual
Right.
singers. So I assume that they just hired the shortest person they could that could also sing, and that was also around the right
Right.
age. So it's tough.
Yeah, he had a growth spurt that day or something. I don't know. So the kids finish their performance and say they're gonna go finish their checkers game or something, and then 2 of the kids, Stacy and the kid, head backstage. They inspect the case, and the leprechaun shows up, and introduces himself as Lyle Moriarty, which, I mean, I guess that's an Irish name. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. That doesn't. It's not like a sort of fun leprechaun sort of name. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty lame, like everything on this show. But hey, just wait till you hear his rock name,
Oh
folks.
gosh, that was the
His rock star name
that
is
was the cringiest, most hilarious
worse.
thing ever. All right, stick around, everyone. We're gonna get there. All right, so he says he's a big fan of the Kids Incorporated, and unless we haven't illustrated this to you, dear listeners, the Kids Incorporated are a big deal. I guess they're known throughout the world, even though they apparently only perform at this the place like every week or whatever. But I guess everybody knows who they are, including everyone out in Ireland and in the leprechaun areas of Ireland. So the kids bring in an adult because they can't believe what they're seeing. The leprechaun then, I don't know, they change his tent or whatever using whatever special effects they had on hand at the time.
Like, this is like Star Trek 1960s level of special effect. It's just like a weird glow around him, and when he walks and moves, like the glow like kind of keeps up with him, but kind of not.
I knew you'd hate it. And so this means that he's invisible, like the adult can't see him, and the adult is like, knock it off with these practical jokes, you kids, and then leaves. And then basically Lyle explains that he can become invisible to whenever he wants, and to whomever he wants. He then says that he's there because he wants to learn how to be a rock and roll star. His dad is tired of him sitting around, and all he wants to do is rock and roll, but he has stage fright. As a musician, did this really hit at home for you?
No.
Yeah, me either.
Did you ever have stage fright? I've never really
of
had
course
stage
not.
fright.
I was born on a stage.
Yeah, we were just born performed. We were born to be on the stage.
But like,
Steve. Yeah, I think you know what? The only musician I ever played with that I would say actually had stage fright was Phil, our old drummer.
Yeah, R.I.P. I guess.
May he rest in peace.
Maybe.
Hopefully he's not in the Kids Incorporated.
Oh man, you beat me to it. I was like, I bet he's
playing
up
drums.
there in the place right now, playing drums. But yeah, nah. I'm like, if this was like the real world, I'm sure the leprechaun's dad would be like, go and get a real job, like peeling potatoes. Don't become a rock star.
When are you gonna find? Why don't you be more like your big brother and find your pot of gold?
Yeah, right.
You know, and I'm shocked there wasn't like more stereotype leprechaun stuff in this.
Right?
Like, I don't even know why they made him a leprechaun. Really, I guess this must have been to be a St. Patrick's Day episode because they don't do any of the regular leprechaun
right,
stuff.
and it's not even slightly educational. There's never a point where he like brings up a map and says, "Oh, I'm from right here, the Emerald Isle," blah blah blah. Like, people, they don't talk about, "Oh, we're part of the lore of Ireland. They think we're not real, but hey, here I am. We are." Like, it's just, "Hey, I'm a leprechaun and I want to rock." That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So a creative came in the chat that so he turned into a Gainer and could be himself. Yeah, this leprechaun kind of wants to be a Chris Gaines. He does develop an alter ego. This is the Irish Chris Gaines.
Yeah. Oh, that just made this episode 100 times better. So let's see. All right, but yeah, he has stage fright. All right, the kids say they have another song to perform and to sit tight and don't let anyone see you. And then we get song 2, which is Say It Isn't So by Hall & Oates. I have to say I did enjoy this song. What do you think about Hall & Oates, this performance, all that stuff?
I'm not really a big fan of Hall & Oates to begin with, but I didn't enjoy any of the songs. So let me just answer all of your follow-up questions.
All right, then. This is going to be a short episode, everyone. All right, so the kids bring the leprechaun out in the sitting area of the concert venue where they're like studying. Again, because none of these kids have actual homes. So he makes himself invisible. And then, like, when the kid and what was the girl's name? Allison or something? They keep talking to him.
Fergie?
Yeah, it's Fergie, whatever. And like the other kids who are studying keep shushing them. Oh, her name is Stacy. That's what her name is. So basically, you just have a very kind of unfunny shtick here where they keep getting shushed over and over again. And Stacy says the leprechaun says they are stuck. They're basically stuck together. And this prompts their next performance of Stuck on You by Lionel Richie, which I also kind of enjoyed. I mean, this is the early 80s, so they kind of have me right where they want me, basically. I mean,
I don't want to hear Kids Bop's versions of these
true.
songs.
No, I hear you. I mean, but it could be much worse.
So Creative KV in the chat had written that they won't write in stereotypes into the script like real men, talking about not using the leprechaun tropes. But you know what? Like, I just don't think they had time, because I would say that there's maybe 5 to 7 minutes max of dialogue in this whole episode in between all the songs and the 2-minute intro. And the episode is 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I would say that easily over half of it is
Yeah,
songs.
they had to weave a very basic story around these 3 or 4 songs. I think it's 4.
Oh, Creative KV. It's so funny that you say should have been Michael Jackson. You'll see why that's so funny.
Yeah.
Very
Don't
soon.
leave, Creative KV. I mean, we're going to be done in like 10 minutes. So yeah, Stuck on You ends. Stacy and the other kids gives the leprechaun an on-stage outfit and a guitar. Oh, here it is. Wow, we're here already.
And when she gives him the guitar, she doesn't say like, "Hey, put this guitar on." She goes, "Here, put this on," or like she says it like really weird, like she acts like she's giving him a prop and not a guitar.
So they hear another kid coming. So Lyle makes them all invisible. And this is kind of funny. Like the random kid who comes in, she's like, "Stacy, like, kid?" She goes, "Where are those nerds?" and they're invisible, so they're like, "She thinks we're nerds." Like, I don't know. It's the only thing.
Yeah, they're nerds. Let's kill her.
That's how it was back in the 80s, man. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
So the kids say they will help. They then now decide they want to help the leprechaun, even though they already have been.
Well, because they want to get rid of him.
Right.
Because he keeps like getting them in trouble because he's making noise and he's getting or they're yelling at him because he's annoying them, and people are like, "Shut up, kids, be quiet."
Right. And they're offended by his Irish accent, his poor Irish accent.
Yes, that.
So
that
then we get.
But you forgot to mention one thing, like in the scene where their leprechaun had made the kids invisible. So after they're insulted by being called nerds, one of the Fergie goes up to the girl that called her a nerd. Again, she's invisible, Fergie is, and flicks her like in the shoulder, and the girl goes, "Ow!" Oh, looks around. She says, "Oh, there must be mosquitoes in here." What kind of mosquitoes do they have in this place that somebody flicking you with their finger would feel like a mosquito
This
bite?
is the quality of writing you get from the writer of The Severed Arm. I mean,
You're right.
So yeah, then we get song 3, which is Fame from the movie Fame. And then we cut to a park bench. I mean, and Lyle says he's ready to go home now, but not until he sings with Kids Incorporated. And Stacy and the kid meet up with the rest of the kids on stage and tell them a rock star from Ireland is going to be singing with them. Yeah,
because first, like the oldest guy in the band, who I would say is like, I don't know, 17, 18 or something like that. He goes, "What? Would you just want us to play with some kid?" And then these 2 kids, Fergie and the other kid that have been hanging out with the leprechaun, they teach the young viewers at home that lying will solve your problems by making up a story and saying that no, it's a famous Irish rock star. And who is this famous Irish rock
Why,
star?
it's Michael O. Jackson. And then we cut to Lyle wearing 80s Michael Jackson attire with his green face. And then I think we never, did we even mention that he had like green skin this whole time?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
mentioned that he's
Yeah,
like
and then
green. Well,
and
go
they
ahead,
say
go
his
ahead.
name is Michael O. Jackson, and then they do their last song. What were you gonna say?
Well, and then the older kid asked, like, why is his face
Mm.
green? And the kids say, oh, that's his rock star alter ego or character.
Yeah, so
I
his like
can't remember, but
onstage
something like that,
makeup or something like that.
like his onstage
Mm.
character. And then in the worst acting possibly on this episode, which is saying something, the oldest kid in the band goes, "Yeah, all right."
That was so bad 80s. I loved it. So bad it was good.
Oh, and we forgot to mention that when the Leprechauns introduces Michael O. Jackson, the Leprechaun then does a Michael Jackson impression talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, oh yeah, this is me. Like does like the falsetto Michael Jackson voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like just wow,
Yep,
wow.
it was something. It was a different time back then. So then we get our final song, which is "Last Dance" by Donna Summer. I've never been into anything by Donna Summers. I'm sure you didn't care either. And that is basically the end of the episode. Well, hold on. We got a RoboCop reference here. Let's see. Mosquito hurt worse than RoboCop getting.
Do more of the voice.
Oh, creative Davy.
Oh, ew. This is getting even weirder than I ever thought it would be.
Steve.
Anything else to add before we render our verdict here?
No. I mean, not a lot happens, and you've covered it all.
All right, here we go.
Remember how obliterated? That's the question.
All right, Mr. O. Velasquez. Do you think that Kids Incorporated, the Leprechaun, should be remembered for all of human history or tossed back into purgatory where it apparently came from, never to be heard from again?
Yeah, this was pretty awful. I don't even think like kids would enjoy it, especially any kid now that's had more sophisticated content.
Well, let me jump in there real quick.
Uh,
Like, a comment on IMDb compared this to High School Musical. Like, do you think they're kind of the same?
I've never seen High
Me
School
either.
Musical, but I suspect that High School Musical is better.
I mean, I've never.
I suspect the worst episode of High School Musical is better than this episode.
Yeah, but
because we're really just talking about this one episode of Kids Incorporated,
uh,
and this is pretty bad. And so it's an obliterate for me. An obliterate for me.
I don't think I hate it as much as you because I think the music was okay for me. It like didn't really annoy me that bad. The writing was pretty awful though. I mean, I would never watch this again unless like a bunch of people got over and wanted to get drunk and make fun of it. So yeah, I can't even do a stalemate. Yeah, good. Yeah, obliterated.
The heathens have spoken. You are obliterated.
Obliterate. You know, it's like Riley.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm gonna. Hey, maybe I should redo the bumper to where it actually does that jingle.
That'd actually be pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll just put that on my to-do
And-
list.
Don't forget to do that.
Yeah.
Ow!
Wow, that was too good. Wow, you sound just like Michael O. Jackson.
Oh, well, you know, I'm a bit of a fan.
Let's see. Steve is too genuinely into this show to make any joke. That is not true, you bastard. Well,
Every song you're like, oh, I love this
well,
song.
I was saying I can tolerate the songs, which usually in movies and TV I can't because it's usually the worst freaking stuff around. But
Next time you and your wife are making love, put on one of these versions of the songs and just see if she notices.
All right,
Just
now
sneak
it's
it in
getting
there.
weird. Well, I mean, since we're pretty much done, did you want to give an update about your videos or whatever?
I mean, I'm still editing. I'm editing like 8+ hours a day sometimes here,
Jesus.
but it's a lot of 3D stuff. Yeah, I literally just spent 3 days working on like what's the last complicated scene, 3D scene. I had to like learn I had to model a bunch of stuff, and I learned how to do lightning.
Nice.
And electricity effects. I'll send it to you after this, actually. Although I'm re-rendering part of it right now on the other computer just because it's
Cool.
part was a little bit darker than I wanted. But anyways, yeah, it's coming along. I'm like a little bit less than halfway through editing it, but the second half is like way easier to edit. So
Good.
should be out this month.
Awesome. And once again, do check out the Escape to Earth issue 3 Kickstarter. And of course, let us know what you think about Kids Incorporated. Were we right to obliterate it? You let us know in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe and share. Help us fight that algorithm, even though, according to YouTube, people on YouTube, there will be no YouTube soon enough.
Oh,
I knew you'd.
we've been
I
saying
knew
that
you'd
for
hate me bringing
years.
that up, but yeah, just joking, just half joke, sort of, maybe not. I don't know. All right, we'll see you next week as we continue to unearth more obscure media only on Obscurity Now. See you next week.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.